What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another review, and this time we're going to be taking a look at Breaking Bad Season 2. Now, overall, I love Season 2 of Breaking Bad. All the problems I had with Season 1, with that being a very slow season, and that season maybe being one episode too many, Season 2, it's a 13 episode season, but from episode 1 all the way to the finale, the story gets so rich, the characters get so much more expanded upon, the relationships get more expanded upon, and just these little things that season two offers that become really big things in later seasons makes this season to me one of the most important and best seasons in Breaking Bad. Just to top this thing off, like the first two episodes pretty much wrap up the storyline with Tuco when he gets involved in a big shootout with Hank, and this stuff is fantastic because up to this point we never really saw Hank in anything intense. He wasn't overly featured in season one as a he's a prime character, but he wasn't overly featured in season one, and we never really saw Hank have any struggles in season one. Season two, we see the effects of what the shootout with Tuco did to Hank. It kind of screwed him up a little bit mentally. It made him have panic attacks at work, and we realize that Hank uses his sense of humor to hide his insecurities, which I think is brilliant storytelling, and it makes Hank a much more complex character. And especially when we get to the stuff when Hank becomes a liaison to an El Paso district, and he pretty much sees his snitch's headless, his snitch's head on the back of a tortoise, which also happens to have a bomb planted on it, and Hank sees a bunch of DEA agents die, and you see one guy lose his leg. That also further fucks up Hank as well with his job. So season two, we see the dangers of Hank's job, and we see what things that he's not used to. We see how it psychologically tortures him, and I love all that stuff. Hank's character in season two is greatly expanded upon. It's beautiful stuff. Uh, Skyler as well gets a little more screen time. Skyler becomes this is where Skyler in season two, the bitchiness really starts to get ratcheted up with Skyler to the point where she goes back to her whole job to work with Ted Beneke, who plays a factor in seasons 3 and 4. But we see Skyler goes towards Ted. The relationship with her and Walt continues to deteriorate, especially when, especially at the season finale when Skyler pretty much finds out that Walt is a bona fide liar. And Walt in season two, he's Walt in season two is where we see the formations of Walt's transformation into Heisenberg. And as usual, Bryan Cranston's performance is outstanding. It's excellent. The interactions he has with Jesse in this season is great. We really see more of that hostile father-son relationship that always exists between Walt and Jesse. And we see that greatly expanded upon in season two. And we also see that Walt, in his own twisted way, he does care for Jesse. There are a lot of moments in this season where Walt sticks up for Jesse, where Walt shows concern for Jesse as well. So even if it's to benefit Walt's own selfish needs, there is a hint that he cares about Jesse the way in a very dysfunctional father son way. And speaking about Jesse in this season, he's Aaron Paul in season two to me puts on a great performance. I love the doomed Romeo and Juliet relationship he has with the character of Jane, who's also introduced in this season. Jesse goes through a lot of shit in season two. He loses his house, he gets an apartment, and his girlfriend dies of an OD. Before that, one of his friends dies in a drug and on the streets doing a drug trying to sell. Jesse goes through a lot of shit in this season, and Aaron Paul can sell being in distress like a champion. When Jesse's sad, you're sad watching him. Aaron Paul in season two to me puts on a fantastic performance. He can sell being sad. He can sell being depressed and just at rock bottom. And I think season two is the formations of Jesse's character. And we also find out Jesse is not a bad person. He does shady shit, but Jesse himself has a good heart, as compared to Walt, whose heart continues to turn darker and darker and darker. Jesse is on the opposite side of the spectrum. He has a good heart, but he constantly gets fucked with. like when you really watch Breaking Bad as a whole, Jesse always pays for Walt's actions, and it's in dividends in season 2 because when Jane dies of an OD, Walt was in the room when that happened. He could have easily saved Jane, but he chose not to because in a prior scene earlier, Jane threatened to blackmail Walt because when Walt refused to give Jesse his cut of the money. So Walt's a vicious bastard who gets darker and darker and darker, and Walt's actions always come around to bite Jesse in the ass. Great stuff. I love it. Can't say anything bad about it. Now, the most important thing about season 2 is what it sets up. Season 2 gives us the introductions of Mike, the badass, Gus, probably the best villain on TV, Tio Salamanca, the uncle of Tuco, and Saul Goodman. Better Call Saul. Yeah, season 2 is an important season in the Breaking Bad universe. A lot of things get expanded upon greatly. You know, the birth of Holly happens in season 2. Skyler finding out that Walt's a liar. You know, where she finds out that Gretchen and Elliot Schwartz had nothing to do with Walt, with the funding of Walt's treatment. And Skyler, of course, the suspicions of Skyler, she does not know where the money's coming from. But the show kind of hints that she kind of does and she kind of doesn't. Because she never flat out says, Walt, you're a drug dealer. Until season 3, which I'll get to when I get to season 3. But anyway, great story expansion, great character progression, and of course we get the introduction of 4 really important characters. 3 of them are actually become main characters, which are Mike, Gus, and Saul, who play big roles in the upcoming seasons, along with Tio Salamanca. So yeah, as to further the building blocks, season 2 is a perfect 10. It sets up the pieces perfectly for season 3. The characters get greatly expanded upon. These little things are peppered throughout each season. The stuff with Ted Beneke, which eventually leads to what happens with Skyler in season 3. The relationship between Walt and his family, which is slowly starting to deteriorate to itself. Walt's relationship with Jesse, which has always been fractured from the start. A lot of good things happen in season 2 that set up what's to come with season 3. So yeah, perfect 10 for Breaking Bad season 2. I love season 2. But is season 2 my favorite season? No, it's not. It's not my favorite season of Breaking Bad. Though I love season 2, my favorite season of Breaking Bad is coming up soon, and I can't wait to talk about it when I get to it. So yeah, perfect 10 for Breaking Bad season 2. I love this season. Let me know if you like this season in the comment sections down below. Like the video and subscribe, and I'll check you back next time for more.